Hey everybody, welcome to Culinary Characters Unlocked. I'm David Page. On this episode, a couple of chefs who became friends working at a restaurant in Las Vegas. After it won a Michelin star, they decided to move to a very different place, Traverse City, Michigan, to open a restaurant of their own, the Cook's House. Here are Eric Patterson and Jennifer Blakeslee. Chef, how are you? Thanks for being here.
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
Okay, a little housekeeping. First of all, people might think you're married. You're not.
Oh, no.
No, not at all.
You've just been business partners for a long time.
Yeah, business partners.
Number two, usually when I'm talking to folks, I will respectfully refer to you as chef, but you're both chefs, so I'm kind of going to have to use first names. I hope you don't mind.
I prefer to be called Eric. Everybody wants to be chef nowadays.
Well, that's because of the bear, right? Yes, chef.
Nah, it's been that way forever. Nobody wants to be a cook anymore. Everybody wants to be the chef. So I just call me Eric. That's fine.
I'm a Jen, and that's about it.
You guys were last working in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Where the weather is much nicer.
Well, I mean, define nice. It's
Opposite
120 degrees during July and August. So.
Okay, good point. You worked there, you won a Michelin star there together. Why pack up and move to Traverse City, Michigan?
Why not? You know, Las Vegas was nice and all to live, but I moved to Vegas in 87, 88, something like that, when there was only maybe 200,000 people, 250,000 people in the entire valley. When we left, I think there was like 2.2 million, something like that. Vegas is a brutal town to live in. It's a brutal town to run a restaurant in. And when we got to talking about opening a restaurant up together, this is kind of right around the same time the whole farm to table movement was taken off. I think right before the farm to table was that slow movement that came out of Italy. So we moved out here about when that was starting to take some root, and we never really thought about it for that reason, but it just made sense for us as chefs to open a restaurant in an area that has everything we need to make good food, including our up-and-coming wine district here. So it just made complete sense from a chef's point of view.
Jennifer, you were born here, right? Or raised here?
Yeah, I was born in Detroit, but I was raised, I graduated high school in Traverse City, and then I moved away immediately.
What was it like growing up there?
It's great. It's beautiful. Tons of outdoor stuff. It's a small town. We're right on the water. I grew up in the country, so I worked on farms as a teenager, and it's beautiful.
Was food a big part of your family life when you were younger?
Yeah, definitely. I spent a ton of time with my grandmother. A day with grandma would be to drive to the Amish farm to get chickens and drive to someone else to get eggs. And you just drove around and got food, and then you made it all.
Were you aware that you had access to things that many others didn't elsewhere?
No.
This was just normal?
Yeah, it was just normal.
When did you figure out you might want to cook for a living?
When I was about 30 years old, and I moved to Colorado, and I lived in the mountains, and I was just super inspired. So this is kind of a second career for me.
What had you been doing?
I danced ballet and jazz in Chicago, and then I went to college.
Did you go to culinary school at some point?
I went to culinary school when I was about 40. I'd been cooking, and I was the chef at a restaurant.
Hold on. You're dancing in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
One day you say, oh, what the heck, I'm done dancing. I'm going to move to Colorado and start working in restaurants?
Well, yeah, I found a job. I found myself up in the mountains, and I just lended a hand, and I worked with 3 amazing cooks that were super inspiring, and they were like, you should go to culinary school. And I was like, I don't know. And then I found myself opening a restaurant with a friend called Trattoria Stella in Denver, and I did that for about 5 or 6 years, and then I went to culinary school.
So you did it for a while, then you went to culinary school. Okay, what did it teach you that running your own restaurant didn't?
Culinary school?
Yeah.
I feel fortunate that I was able to go to culinary school, but I think the majority of inspiration and techniques and all of those kinds of things were from other cooks that I cooked with. And I like to travel a lot, so I just stage, and I stage in Mexico and India and Germany and Italy and wherever I could to learn different skills. But, you know, I mean, I kind of a little late to the game as a cook's age would be. And then I had an opportunity to apply for a sous chef position in Las Vegas, which I did. And I didn't really want to move to Las Vegas, but I ended up moving a month later. And then I started cooking with Eric, and we just
Went from there.
Like work really well together.
We're going to pick that story up in a minute, but I want to get Eric there. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in northwest Kansas, about 90 miles south of Nebraska, about 100 miles east of Colorado on Interstate 70.
In other words, you were absolutely officially in the middle of nowhere.
Fun fact, my hometown is one of the most remote towns in the country if you measure it by how far it takes to get to a metropolitan area. Paul Harvey called my hometown the end of nowhere.
What town is it?
Oakley, Kansas.
Okay, in the official middle of nowhere. I don't suppose fine dining restaurants proliferated.
No.
What was your experience with food growing up?
Yeah, this was the 70s, early 70s, mid 70s, early 80s. My mom, rest her soul, was one of the worst cooks on the planet.
So was my mom, rest her soul, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have these. I spent the days in the kitchens with grandma and mom learning how to cook. We eat a lot of bologna sandwiches, a lot of cereal, a lot of hot tuna sandwiches.
Beef in my mother's kitchen came out gray.
Yeah, we didn't do a lot of beef. We did a lot of hamburger gravy. So I was a latchkey kid, and my sister and I, my mom and dad owned the local Sears catalog store. And so they were always at work when we got home from school. My sister and I would usually make peanut butter jelly sandwiches, that sort of everything. I one day decided I was hungry for popcorn. So these are back in the days. Remember the ABC Sunday night movies?
Vaguely.
Yeah, we would all sit down. We had two channels, we had ABC, CBS kind of thing growing up.
Oh, those poor guys at NBC were bemoaning their failure to reach Oakland.
Every Sunday night, we would sit down and watch the ABC Sunday night movie, no matter what it was. Mom would pop a big gray stone bowl of popcorn, and we would sit there and watch it. So I had seen Mom make popcorn innumerable times. And so I was about 11. I got home from school one day, decided that I didn't want peanut butter and jelly sandwich, made a batch of popcorn, kind of however I saw Mom make it. And it was one of those epiphany moments that this is what I want to do. I want to be a chef.
From making popcorn?
Yeah. We give popcorn away at the end of dinner every night here at the restaurant because of that. But yeah, it was an epiphany. That feeling was amazing. And so I've just kind of single-mindedly done that my entire life.
Well, when did you start working professionally in kitchens?
13. My dad knew the owner of the local steakhouse. So when I turned 13 or so, he got me an interview with Dave and Sherry. He made me put a white shirt on and slip-on tie, and I went out and talked to Dave, and he gave me a proper interview and said, yeah, if you want to start, you can start on Sunday, which was Mother's Day. So I started washing dishes at 13 on Mother's Day.
When did you start cooking?
Legally at the time, I don't know what the age is now, but in Kansas at the time, we couldn't start cooking until we were 15. So when I turned 15, Dave and Sherry got me up on the line. But it was good old-fashioned short order cooking. Steaks, hamburgers, patty melts, fried mushrooms, all good old-fashioned 80s steakhouse fare.
Ah, the staffs of life.
Yeah.
What was your progression from there? Did you work at other places in Kansas?
So, you got, 4 restaurants in my hometown. So when I hit 18 or 19, I don't remember exactly, I moved out to Las Vegas with the idea to learn how to cook.
Why'd you pick Vegas?
I didn't want to go as far as California.
But you sure didn't want to be in Kansas.
Yeah, I wasn't going to learn how to cook the way I wanted to learn how to cook. Vegas at the time was starting to boom. When I moved out there were a couple thousand people a month moving to Las Vegas. So it just seemed like the place to go.
And we'll be right back.
So I worked in Vegas probably for a year or two at just, shitty restaurants. And then I hunted down the best chef in Vegas at the time, Andre Rocher, Andre's French Restaurant.
You're not pointing out he owned it. That was the name of it.
Yeah, that was the name. Yeah, he's not open anymore, but he's probably arguably the first great chef in Vegas.
Well, if you'd been working in shitty restaurants, why'd he hire you?
That's a great question. I didn't have the skills necessary. I literally came out of Kansas and not working in good restaurants. I went back for about 8 or 9 months every month around the same day of the month to talk to the chef de cuisine. I didn't meet Andre at the time, and I think I finally just wore them down. And I got home from work one night, and there was a message on my message machine in a very thick French accent saying that there's a job opening if I want it. And so I went down, and that was the first time I'd met Andre after months of just going down and pestering the chef de cuisine to get in.
And that's where you learned to cook.
Yeah, it was brutal. I never even considered conceived the idea that food could be cooked at that level. I knew abstractly, I'd seen the magazines and things like that, but I didn't know it really existed in real life. My first month is a blur. I don't remember anything. I was just so overwhelmed by everything.
Well, you obviously had a knack for it.
That or just a knack for punishment. I'm not sure which one it is.
Well, Jennifer, how did you get to that restaurant? You went to Vegas and went straight there, or worked at some of the shitty restaurants that Eric mentioned, or what?
I was the chef at Trattoria Stella in Denver, and one of the gentlemen that used to come in all the time, his sister was married to Andre.
Ah.
And they had been looking for a sous chef for quite a while.
Yeah. So kind of to backtrack real quick, after my apprenticeship, I left and kind of cooked around a little bit, and I would come back and forth and work for the old man for a stints at a time. So when Jen and I first started working together, that was when I had taken on his chef's position.
Eric was chef de cuisine at Andre's, the original location downtown. And then he had 3 other restaurants. They were looking for a sous chef, and so they asked me to come out and interview.
Spend the weekend.
Yeah, so I worked at all the restaurants and then ate at all the restaurants, and then they offered me the position. They were just opening Mistral, which was at the Hilton. And when I was a kid, my stepfather gambled a lot, and we would always stay at the Hilton, and we would go eat at this really high-end French restaurant, but it was the same restaurant as Mistral. And then I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been in here before. And then I was hired, and I moved there a month later.
Okay, so you go to Mistral, you cook there for a while. Eventually you end up working for Eric, right?
No. I was working for Chef Andre, but I worked at the downtown location with Eric.
So I was the chef de cuisine. She was the sous chef.
Obviously, you developed a friendship. Were your cooking styles the same? What was the compatibility?
No.
I would say opposite. I think our approach to food, our flavor profiles, everything about it, I would say we have some touchstones, but for the most part, widely different.
I think we have our strengths in different areas.
Yeah, well, one of us is good, the other one isn't, with that sort of a thing.
Okay, Eric, what are you good at?
So I'm really good at editing. I can refine a dish. I don't consider myself a very creative cook, but what I'm really good at is I can take an idea or a dish and I can refine it down to where it needs to be. I can remove things, add things. I just know when a dish is right and how to edit a good dish down.
And Jennifer, what's your skill set?
I'm good at doing.
She's highly creative. She can spit out ideas and menus all day long. Her flavor profile is bright and I would say whimsical. It's powerful. It's just strong flavors, whereas my cooking flavor profile is much more subtle, much more subdued. I think a little more serious isn't the word I would use, but it's a little more refined maybe, but not in a disparaging way against what she does. I think ultimately her food is better than mine.
Jennifer, is your food better than his?
No, not necessarily. There's some things that he makes that are like the best.
Like what?
I make a pretty good cassoulet.
Yeah, cassoulet hollandaise.
French onion soup.
Rillette.
Here's what I read that Eric said about your cooking, Jen. Jen likes to work with more complex flavors from her travels in India, Mexico, and Southeast Asia. How do you incorporate those flavors into your dishes?
At the restaurant here, the dishes that we serve here are ingredient driven because we use so much local produce or proteins or fish, whatever.
Most of the dishes are a combination of the two of our personalities. Usually the one that comes up with the idea is the one that takes the lead on that particular dish. And so let's say, for instance, it's a dish that Jen comes up with an idea on. Just because of the way she cooks, the way she thinks about cooking, they're going to incorporate those more complex flavors. There's more Indian inspired, more Latin American inspired flavor profile. And I will oftentimes just kind of do the around the outsides of it. And then if it's something of mine that tends to be, I can say, a little more subtle or a little more, on the back foot, she is able to go, this could use a bit of this to brighten or something like that. So it's really a combination of the two.
Yeah, I think we're fortunate to trust each other food-wise and be able to be very honest about it for the end goal, which is having a great dish.
And it's unusual to see successful kitchens that have two chefs involved. Usually chefs' egos are such that they want to be the one who is out front. best doing it. Jen and I mean, we've got egos. We're chefs. We can't help it. But we recognize that the dish is more important than our ego. If I come up with a dish and it's good, but it's not great, she's able to go, yeah, it's okay, but we need to do something with this. And the same with her. And neither one of us is going to get upset with the idea that, okay, it's not a perfect dish. One of the hardest things as a chef, and this is probably hard, well, no, it's harder on, I think it's harder on all of us at whatever stage we are in our career. One of the hardest things is to learn to be objective about your food. It's hard to taste a dish and go, it needs something, or no, this isn't working, or yeah, this is right. And so Jen and I are able to kind of work off of each other, and it keeps that objectivity a little more in focus. Instead of one of us just trying to decide, is this really good or not? We have the other one who we trust each other's palates enough to know that, yeah, this needs some work on it, or this is exactly where it needs to be.
Jennifer, you're smiling.
Well, I was going to say, I think there's a lot of truth to everything Eric's saying. You're asking what is our strong point. And I think one of mine is bringing people together, not only in the restaurant, but also in our community and planning events, that kind of thing.
Yeah, she's more the let's get out there and do something kind of person.
Coming right back. You guys were thinking it's time to open a place of our own. Did you look in Vegas, or was that never on the table?
No, it's not.
No, I mean, before Jen started working with me in Vegas, I'd already been looking at different parts of the country to move to and to potentially open a restaurant. I'd never wanted to stay in Las Vegas. I'd been there for almost 20 plus years. And so I'd had really enough of Las Vegas. It was time for me to move out.
So Jennifer, you want to go back to your hometown. You're dragging him with you, I assume happily, not kicking and screaming.
I would have been happy going to Colorado or coming here. Actually, my daughter was 4 and she was getting ready to turn 5 to go to school. And it just kind of dawned on me that I will see her now on Sundays for the rest of, if I stay in Las Vegas.
You had a lovely childhood, I assume?
Yeah, well, for the most part.
She's having a lovely childhood in your hometown. How'd you find the restaurant? How'd you pay for the restaurant? I mean, it looks like somebody's house, both outside and inside.
So we moved up here 2006 with the idea of opening the restaurant. I took a line cook's job so I could focus on writing a business plan, that sort of a thing.
And I worked as the lunch lady.
Wait, you were the school lunch lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the white uniform and the sensible shoes?
Well, not quite that sensible, but at least myself and a couple other people started a farm to school lunch program. It was the first one up in northern Michigan. I think maybe in Michigan, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're trying to get investors together. Come around January 2008, we had $500,000 or so in investors set up. Things were looking good. We were a couple weeks away from signing a lease on an 80-seat restaurant it would have been. And then the whole economic crash happened. And we lost all of our investors but one with $25,000.
Oh.
It was brutal. I was working a double shift at the restaurant that was downtown. And so I would work mornings and then take the afternoon off and go over across the street to the bookstore and hang out there for a couple hours and then go back to work and do the night shift. I remember when everything happened, going across the street in the bookstore and finding a corner and just crying. I left a prestigious job, good money, stable life. I drugged my family up here so I could be a line cook in a second-rate Italian restaurant. A couple weeks later, I heard about this little bitty place that had, I think, 16 seats in it, 4 tables, 5 tables, something like that, a kitchen the size of most bathrooms. And so we hot-footed it over there and literally said to the guy, just give us a number. What would it take? Because we heard he was leaving. He threw us a number. We went back to the one investor that we had who could get us $25,000. We wrote this guy a check for the equipment and things like that and started getting things together. And within about a month and a half, we were ready to open the restaurant. And we opened up with less than $2,000 in the bank, which is against all rules. You don't do that. And then where we are now is just a rock's throw catty corner from where we started, which is just a little bit bigger. We had 16 seats there. We have 25 here. We grabbed the space that we're in now a couple months after we opened across the street, knowing that we were going to eventually move over here.
Jennifer, aside from dragging in all your childhood friends and such, how quickly was the restaurant a success?
The restaurant was well received in the original location. However, we didn't have a liquor license. And so there was a nice market across the street and people would bring in their own. And
It
then,
wasn't quite legal.
but people had been doing it at that location
For years.
40 years. But it upset one or two other restaurant owners that we didn't have the liquor license. So then the police would come on a regular basis. So then we served no alcohol. And that was almost the death of us. People said, well, when you get the liquor license, we'll come back. We tried to get a liquor license. We tried to move into the spot right next door to it. We had to get a law change for the state of Michigan so that you can have a smaller restaurant with 25 seats. There's been a lot of just different hiccups along the way.
How long was it till you got the liquor license?
Took us about a year. Michigan has the most archaic liquor laws. It can take, by law, that's supposed to be 3 months, but everybody knows that's just not true. It can take months and months and months to get approved. That's a whole different podcast. But, initially, nobody knew what to think of us because we had no reputation up here, no name or anything like that. And so we just opened the door to no fanfare. And so the first, I'd say month, we maybe would do 10, 12 people a night. And then one day it just started getting busy and then off we went.
Was there fine dining elsewhere in Traverse City?
Oh, yeah. Chef P. Peterson started Taco Wingo in the 80s and 90s, and when he was at the top of his game, one of the top chefs in the Midwest. He was in Ellsworth, an hour or so kind of northish from us.
Yeah, and he had guest chefs like Charlie Trotter and
Lagasse. And
So you weren't totally plowing new ground here.
No. I mean, there was Trattoria Stella, which is an Italian restaurant here in town. They started about 4 years before we did. There was Windows by Bill Murray, and he was kind of the big dog on the block for a long, long time.
Michael Peterson had Lulu's.
Michael Peterson, Lulu's. So yeah, there was some fine dining up here.
Okay, so now you're trying to break into a market that exists, but there's several restaurants people are used to going to. How long was it that you were successful? People knew you and you were on the list of the places to go.
We got right up. We had started getting right up.
Within a year, I think. Within a year or two, we would start getting mentions in
Midwest
Living, that kind of thing. So, about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And what was the culinary ethos of the place? What was the promise you were making?
We just wanted to make good, honest, world-class food made with as many possible local ingredients as we could.
Some of the farms here are just amazing.
And we really wanted to just showcase Michigan. Jen and I, we're Kool-Aid drinkers when it comes to our belief on just how absolutely amazing Michigan is as a state. Culinary-wise, it is second to only California in variety of produce. The passion that is up here from the farmers and the small ranchers and the little cheese makers and the creameries that we get the cream, the passion found in these people are just unparalleled. They're producing some of the best stuff, I think, in the world, and they're doing it with no fanfare. We want to be the ones that give them the fanfare. They're actually the true rock stars of the culinary scene up here.
Let's talk about how you use what they give you. Jennifer, tell me about a couple of the dishes you're proudest of.
Right now, we have a soup, a wild rice and chestnut soup.
We have a forager that has a little secret wild rice patch that he gets wild rice from, and we buy that from him every year. Chestnut farmer up here has chestnuts.
The fish from the Great Lakes, walleye and whitefish, lake trout.
I got to interrupt you. I lived in Minnesota. I never found any flavor in walleye. Is there?
Oh my God, you serious? That is one of the best freshwater fish you'll ever eat.
Really?
Oh, I'll put money on it. If it's made right and it's fresh, it is one of the best freshwater fish in the lakes.
Okay, how do you make it right?
Where people go wrong with the whitefish up here and the walleye and some of the other fish is they put too much on it to where you don't taste it.
Well, they fry the hell out of it, right?
Well, they fry the shit out of it. They put breadings and they put all of these things that just smother the flavor. It's very delicate flavor. So we just we have a nice little plancha. We stick it on the plancha with some butter, cook it 3/4 of the way on the skin side, flip it for a couple seconds and pull it off. A little bit of salt before you stick it on there. And then just make a simple dish that doesn't overpower the fish.
So like one of those walleye dishes that we had, we use milkweed flowers, milkweed pods, and sear those.
You're out there picking flowers in the backyard and searing them?
Well, again, we've got foragers who do that for us. But yeah,
What does milkweed taste like?
tastes like milkweed. If you saute like the sprouts and the leaves and the flowers, those taste like, maybe rapini, that sort of a thing. But when you finally get to the pod, if you saute that, the milkweedy stuff in the middle turns into this cheesy kind of texture.
Wow.
Yeah, really good stuff. So anyway, we had it.
Yeah, with
the
with a little bit of Indian inspiration, where we did like a tomato curry. The tomatoes here are amazing with a brown butter sauce.
Yeah.
You threw that off like it's nothing. Well, we did this with a little brown butter sauce.
The trick to great food is simplicity. Even like with Jen's flavor profiles, they're very simple technique. You don't have to go through great lengths to produce great food. And we rely almost entirely on the freshness and the quality of what comes through the back door.
Where do you get your foie gras?
Yeah, too bad that is not local. That's Hudson Valley foie gras.
Hudson Valley, New York?
Yeah, we do allow ourselves some things that are not local, but for the most part, we try to use local. Like there's a local shrimp farm
There's a local shrimp farm in Michigan?
that is getting ready to start giving people wholesale shrimp. They invited us over to their facility, and it's 4 or so big tubs of water where they grow this amazing, sweet, incredible shrimp.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, we've got a dinner coming up. What are we making with that?
Got shrimp cake.
Yeah, we're going to make like a shrimp cake out of it, and we're going to fry their heads like a cracker.
Your menu changes repeatedly, obviously, based on what's available.
As things come and go. Yep.
Is it only a tasting menu? Is it also a la carte? What are my options?
We have a la carte plus a 5 and a 7-course tasting menu. If I had my way about it, we would do all tasting menu, but I don't think Northern Michigan's ready for that only thing yet. So
What about wine?
we have a regular wine list. We've got probably 130 labels on the list. And then we have, I'd say, about 10 or so of the local vineyards that we think are just as good as anything else in the world. And so we just have them scattered throughout our list.
You do pairing dinners?
Yeah, we do wine dinners with some of the vineyards up here.
Do you see these behind us? On the
Yeah, if
board?
you see the calendar, you can see on the chalkboard, kind of to Jen's left, you can see the calendar coming up.
For those listening, not watching, they've got a very neat list of events behind them.
The list of events and the wine dinners and those collaborations and the guest chef dinners kind of all happen through January through about May.
Yeah.
This will be our 18th year. And so once a week, there's a different event. We've kind of built on those events also. Like we always do the Mobby one the week of Valentine's
Because they're
Day.
sparkling wines. We've always done that on, the week of Valentine's Day.
It's tough to make a buck in the restaurant biz.
Yeah. It's damn near
Oh,
impossible.
And it's getting tougher, according to everyone I talk to.
Yeah.
There's truth in that.
How you doing?
We had our best year last year. One of the things I learned from Andre was no matter how tough it gets, no matter how hard the economy is, the only thing that we have is our reputation. And so you have to scrape and scrap and fight to keep the food quality up and to keep your service quality up. If you can do that, you should be able to weather
The cycles.
whatever cycles come and go. And we're fine dining, which makes the margins even thinner.
A big issue in the restaurant world these days has been employee compensation.
Yeah.
Are you able to keep up?
Yeah, we're able to keep up with that. We're doing our best. We do pay our staff as they should be paid. We try to also take care of them the best we can. We try to take them out. We try to give them opportunities. The cooking school, we just found out, offers a continuing education kind of thing starting, I think, this year. So hopefully next year or maybe at the end of the busy season, a couple of our cooks will be able to, and we'll pay for it, to take some of these continuing, make yourself a better cook kind of thing.
You're going to pay to send some of your people to cooking classes?
Yeah, and it's because it just
Other people in the biz would say you're nuts.
well, yeah, but I think it's important that you try to take care of your staff the very best that you can, and you recognize that there's failings and we screw it up every now and again. But I think it's important to take care of the staff. Jen and I have foregone raises from. I think a bookkeeper was telling us that for as long as she's been with us, we've never taken a raise. We still make basically the same amount of money we
You
did
are nuts.
15 years ago. Yeah.
He lived pretty
We live pretty
Simply.
simply. Neither one of us are enamored with the idea of getting wealthy. This truly is a labor of love for us. And so we give away a lot, even to like our guests. You know, we probably give away $5,000-$6,000 in bubbles every year.
Bubbles?
Yeah, there's a local vineyard up here that we buy sparkling wine from. And we probably, during the summertime, we'll go through a case and a half, 2 cases a week just for people celebrating. Or sometimes just for shits and giggles, we'll just give everybody a little taste of a sparkling wine. Yeah.
Okay, a question for both of you then. If you're not in it to get rich, start with Jen. Why do you do this? Do you want to make people happy? Does cooking do something to your soul? What is it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's the great equalizer in life.
What do you mean by that?
It's just the best spot to be in.
Eric?
All chefs have an innate need to serve people, to make people happy, to give people things. Any successful chef around the world has to serve. I worked for one chef who called feeding the rat. You just have to feed that inside of you that requires you to be of service to people. The restaurant is the only space in the world where I feel comfortable. You take me outside of these 4 walls and I am absolutely lost. I don't know what to do. I have no social skills outside of it, but inside the restaurant, I know the rules. I'm comfortable in here. When you're standing at the pass and the dining room's kind of quiet and you look out and you see somebody take a bite of food, there's that moment where they just quietly nod their head. That's a feeling that you just can't replace. Just that quiet head nod. This is where all things are good. When people are in the dining room, you know, there's enough shit going on in the world right now. To give people an opportunity to come in and to have a couple hours of reprieve, that's worth any amount of money. And I'll take that over a big payday anytime.
What's ahead, do you think, guys?
Fucking hell, retirement, hopefully. No, I doubt it. We're cooks. We don't retire. What's ahead? I don't know. Just kind of keep doing what we're doing, I think.
Jen, what do you think's ahead?
I think that we'll have the opportunity to continue to do what we do.
Neither one of us
Hopefully.
really are we're slowing down, but neither one of us are on the way out.
I always get the travel bug, especially in the winter when it's so cold and just gray all day. It makes me want to travel. But I always come back. It's kind of like a recharge.
Yeah, I guess trying to stay relevant.
You know, we have an amazing staff.
Pass on what we know to our staff. Yeah, just keep doing what we do.
There's some new things happening up here. There's several new restaurants that have opened, just doing some beautiful food. There's a new food and wine festival that started last year. So we'll see what it brings to the community.
You're feeling good?
Yeah, I think so overall.
Yeah, we're excited about just the vibe of the restaurant. You know, every year we do a little bit better. The community up here, as a restaurant, Jen and I, from the beginning, wanted to make the community and community a central tenet of the restaurant, of who we are as a restaurant. And so for us to see the community, just the growth over the 18 years, all the chefs and restaurateurs, we all get along great up here. There's a great vibe. There's a good camaraderie. With one of us as having a difficult time, the others all kind of rally. If you're looking for an ingredient, the others rally. Our cooks all basically cycle through each other's restaurants. It's just a great vibe. And I'm just personally looking forward to seeing, I would love to see where we are as a restaurant community in 50, 75, 100 years from now. I would love to see the growth of it because there's been so much of it now and continuing on.
Well, congratulations on your continuing success.
Thanks.
You've obviously done something pretty remarkable there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you both for spending some time with me.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure.
It has been a pleasure.
Very, very much a pleasure.
Come visit us.
I will.
Let us know. We'll get you in for dinner.
It's good to know someone who can handle the reservations. Eric Patterson and Jennifer Blakeslee on Culinary Characters Unlocked. I'm David Page. I'll see you next time. And check out the Culinary Characters Unlocked Substack.